All right, President Trump is set to chair a meeting at the White House today on post-war plans for Gaza. This is according to Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. Speaking on Fox News yesterday, Witkoff also expressed optimism that the conflict could be settled by the end of this year. Listen.
We think that we're going to settle this one way or another, certainly before the end of this year.
Is there a plan for a day after in Gaza?
Yes, we've got a large meeting in the White House tomorrow, chaired by the president, and it's a very comprehensive plan we're putting together on the next day that I think many people are going to be, they're going to see how robust it is.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio also plans to meet with Israel's foreign minister in Washington later today. But on the ground, the fighting in Gaza shows no sign of slowing down. These explosions were seen inside the territory overnight. This as Israel's military has just released its initial findings into Monday's strike on a Gaza hospital. CBS News foreign correspondent Chris Livesay has more on this. As you are all aware, he's reported extensively in the region in the past. Good morning, Chris. What do you make of this initial report by the IDF? Help us understand what it shows.
Hey, Errol. Well, according to this initial report, the IDF, that's the Israeli military, was targeting what they claimed was a camera that Hamas had set up at the Nasser hospital in Khan Yunis, and they were using this camera in order to pinpoint locations of Israeli soldiers and mount attacks on them. However, they didn't provide any evidence of this. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, shortly after the attack took place on Monday, called the attack a tragic mishap. Now, he may have been referring to what witnesses say was a double tap. So there was an initial blast that took place at the hospital, and then, according to witnesses, journalists and first responders rushed to the scene. And that scene was captured on live television thanks to Egyptian broadcasters when this second blast took place, killing those 5 journalists. But we still don't know exactly the circumstances of that second blast. This preliminary report simply doesn't address it, Errol.
People in Israel are showing their frustration with their government. You had demonstrators yesterday demanding a ceasefire deal and to secure the release of hostages, blocking roads in the country. Any sign their calls are being listened to by Netanyahu's government?
Not really, Errol. I mean, there were upwards of 350,000 protesters in the streets. They were blocking traffic. They even surrounded the prime minister's office. This was all taking place while the security cabinet met, but didn't even address a deal that's out there that Hamas says it's already accepted, which would lead to a 60-day truce in exchange for 10 of the Israeli hostages who have been held for nearly 2 years, ever since those horrible Hamas attacks that took place on October 7th. But as I said, they didn't even address this issue. So there's this sense in Israel that all of these protests, which have been taking place virtually since the beginning of the war, calling on the government to do whatever it takes to release those hostages as soon as possible, that their government has become numb to those calls. Meanwhile, the government is preparing for what it says will be a focus of attacks on Gaza City. It's where the vast majority of Gaza's population, and according to Israel, where Hamas is now located. They say this is an effort to pressure Hamas into ending the war and releasing the some 50 hostages, dead and alive, who remain in Hamas captivity.
Yeah, so many people want to see an end to all of that suffering. Chris, thank you very much.